Hey guys, episode 49 incoming. Very, very close to 50 now, obviously. Clue is in the name. And I want to say thank you to everyone that has been downloading it, as I recently hit 10,000 downloads, which I know is not a massive number, but it's a big milestone for me. And I put a stat out the other day, which is crazy to me. So most podcasts don't make it over three episodes. And to get to over 20, to over 21, that is 1%. So to get to 50, I can only imagine it's like 0.1%. Obviously, there's a million more successful podcasts than mine. I think that goes without saying. But the fact you're listening to it is something I'm extremely grateful for. So thank you. So today, I'm going to talk about finding a work-life balance as a coach, as a mentor, and what that even looks like. And this is something I've really struggled with over the years. Still struggle with, to be honest with you. Still finding this quite difficult. And I'm not really sure at what point I'm going to be super happy with it. But I'll talk about some tactics that I found helpful to kind of determine what that might look like. So firstly, I think balance in general is one of those things that is so unique to everyone. I can't say what someone else's level of balance might look like. I like working quite a lot, so my level of work to life might look different. But what I'll typically do is I'll look at various different things. I call this my life audit. I'll look at where I'm at with my finances, and that's kind of how I make my money, spend my money, those sorts of things. My physique, so my fitness goals, my whatever that might look like, my relationships, my family, my friends, and my hobbies. Those are the 6 areas in which I'm going to spend my time. And I go, is this, in this moment, right now, how I want to be spending my time? How does that kind of feel? And versus where am I now versus where do I want to be? How does that kind of look? And I'll start to look at that from a top-down level, like from a holistic standpoint, and then go, how does that manifest itself in terms of the week? So let's say you've got big aspirations in business. I want to build my business up. You probably have to skew that finance side of things more so. And assuming you've got, let's call it 100 points to spend across the course of the week, completely arbitrary, I'm going to choose to spend 50 points on that finance part of that equation. That means something else is going to give, right? That might be less time in the gym with your fitness, which is what a lot of people do, and that's obviously a mistake, which I'll come into in a second. It might be less time with your hobbies, less time with your friends, less time with your family, less time with your partner, whatever that might be. And you have to go, is that something I'm willing to do? Now, obviously, this is why it's unique. You've got 6 areas to choose from. Now, the reason I say don't neglect your fitness is if your fitness goes, you're fucked, right? If your health goes out the window, your physique goes, energy goes, you'll feel like a fraud as a coach. But secondarily, I've never seen anyone do it. In fact, that's the reason I coach so many coaches, is to get them out of that funk that they ended up doing. They ended up thinking, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to spend less time on myself, more time on the business, then obviously regret that because no coach can operate like that for a long period of time. So that kind of leaves your hobbies, your friends, your family, and your relationships. You determine where the pull comes from. Now, I couldn't tell you. I know I spend less time with my friends and my family than I would potentially like. Make sure I spend a lot of time with my girlfriend, a lot of time with my hobbies. Those are incredibly important to me. So that's going to change over time. I spent like a number of years when I was single just hammering that work side of the equation to build it up. So that's kind of one way I look at the work-life balance, is find out where that sits with you. Once you kind of understand what you want that to maybe look like, just from a top-down perspective, start to think about how that would manifest itself across the daily basis. And that might be, okay, what does my start of the day, end of the day look like? What does my work day look like? How do I structure my check-ins across the course of the week? How do I insert thing here, right? I can't sit and say what someone else should do, but once you start to look at your working week and you say, you know what, I'm actually wasting loads of time here, and here, perhaps I could buy some time back to then free up some time later. So, for example, I'm a big proponent of going to the gym in the morning. Go to the gym in the morning, come back, that's out the way. That frees up that fitness component later in the day. It doesn't mean I have to worry about it then. I might be thinking I'm going to be really maximizing my productivity during my check-in times so I can get as much work done early and I can focus on my other business tasks. So if I'm really, really disciplined across the course of the day, I get to 5 or 6 o'clock and I can go and do a hobby, friends, family, whatever it is. All these things make sense. The problem I see a lot of people make, I've made before, is you end up bleeding tasks. You find what was meant to be 4 hours of check-ins turn into 8 because you were just wasting time. You end up spending so much time going to the gym during the day, 3 hours doing that, go for haircuts during the day, whatever, just wasting time during the day doing tasks you could have organised better, and then wondering why you're stressed in the evening, you can't spend time with your friends, your partner, your friends, family, whatever that looks like. You've got no hobbies. And I find that when you are busier and you block your time out, you can actually have a better balance. So right now I've got the jiu-jitsu bug, try and say that right. I wish there was a drug for jiu-jitsu, it'd make me better, fucking hell. But I'm pretty obsessed, right? I'm trying to do that 3 classes a week plus open mat. I would have thought a couple of years ago I wouldn't have been able to do that. I thought there's no way that I'm going to be able to make time to do that. But nowadays, because I've scheduled time in for it, it means I'm making time across my work day by just working a little bit harder. So like scheduling in other stuff means that it's Parkinson's law, right? Parkinson's law, the time it takes to do a task is the time allocated to it. So you'll find that if you block your time out, you can get more shit done, right? Because you say, I've got this much time for check-ins, this much time thing, because I've got to be finished by 6 o'clock because I've got to go down to jiu-jitsu, or I've got to go and see my friends, or I've scheduled a date with my partner. You end up being much more productive. Those are things. And then I'd also schedule in fun. So schedule in life. Okay, so work-life balance. Life is quite important. Schedule in things. So we schedule in date nights. I schedule in times to go and see my friends, my family. It's not every single weekend. I can't have the super active social life that I potentially want if I want other areas of my life to work. Right, I'm still in a grow phase in my business to some degree. We're trying to save for a house. We're trying to save for the other things. But I've got these events scheduled in. I'm going to go and see Metallica this weekend. It's a bucket list task. So I'm absolutely buzzing for that. We had a friend's wedding the other weekend. Got loads of things that you can schedule time in for. But actually, that's the life component. We're making sure there's time there. Because otherwise, it'll get to the weekend. You're like, oh, what do we do? I don't know. End up working and have that sort of Sunday night dread I used to get when I was at school, thinking, fuck, I've achieved nothing this weekend. Where was the life component? So that's definitely a thing I would always consider. And when you sort of put them all together, you've got the top-down view, you've got the actual how does this manifest itself in the week, I've got the planned fun, and you can start to make your life work. And just another component, which is what I talk to a lot of coaches about, is the concept, and I stole this from Menno Henselmans. So shout out to him for bringing this concept to my attention. I'm not sure if he came up with it or if he got it from someone else. So I'm just sat here sweating in the front room because it's so hot. We've got a heat wave in the UK, so you can see me sweating. That's just because it is roasting hot and I can't have a fan on my face because you'd hear it. But he had this concept called investment and consumption days, and I love it. So investment days are days that take you closer towards your goal, right? It's something that I'm stacking, building, moving closer towards my goal in time. That could be building towards your business, your finances, your physique, whatever it is, right? It's an investment. That's where we want to spend most of our time. Then we're going to have our consumption days, which are days that take us no closer towards the goal. In fact, they may take us further away from the goal, but they're really fun and they're absolutely worth it. Now, as you can imagine, one of the things that you're going to find is wherever you stack your time is where you're going to kind of build towards. So if you have a ton of investment days, guess what? Your life's going to be going forward. Ton of consumption days, your life's going to be going backwards. The key is to find a balance that fits you. So that balance might be, I have 1 day out of 7. So, for example, 1 day at the weekend where I go and do something fun. It could be, I'm going to stack loads of investment days to have a holiday. It could be that every month I have a weekend where I go away and see some friends, whatever it might be. Okay, so But what we're doing is we're being intentional with that. And I'm a huge proponent of holidays for this reason, where we have these days where we're not going to work. We actually have some time off. I know that might sound sacrilege to a lot of coaches, but I think it's absolutely what we should be doing. As uncomfortable as it can be, I think doing it is a no-brainer. Making sure that we spend time to have holidays, those are consumption days. But even if it's just a weekend of you not working, say you're in that real build early phase of the business, making sure you spend some time doing that. But it's incredibly important that you do. So I still haven't got this right. Okay, so I'm sat here talking to you, and I still haven't got this in a perfect structure. Okay, I'm still finding my feet with this, and I wish I could give you this perfect structure for everyone, but it's not going to exist. But if you understand the components of what makes your life yours, be intentional with it, and start to think, how do I want my general structure of my life to look like? How do I want my week to look like? And how can I plan in these fun times across the course of a week, a month, a year? I think you're going to find a much better way of having your own balance. And the final point I say to coaches here is, you do need time off. It seems to be this badge of honor where people are like, I can't have time off, I've got to work every day. And all I'd say to you is, do you think you're getting more done that way? Do you think you could get the same done in less time? Do you think that perhaps you'd be better off as a more relatable individual, a more relaxed individual, a less stressed individual, if you had some time off, some family time? Do you think your partner would prefer you like that? Do you think you'd prefer you like that? And ultimately, do you want to look back in your life in 10 years thinking, yeah, man, never took a day off? Like, that's not really how the life we want to live. I appreciate we've got to work hard, but I think oftentimes we set this unrealistic expectation what work hard looks like. Work hard doesn't mean team no days off for 10 years. That's not going to be the life you want to live. So start to be a bit more intentional about it. Scheduling time off. Be a bit more disciplined with your work. Like, your discipline is going to buy you freedom. The more disciplined you're going to be, the more time you can have to chill. And also, just play a game with me. Do it for a week. For 1 week, finish at 6. Right, so you finish all your work by 6 o'clock and spend some time with your partner, or see some friends, or go and do a hobby, and tell me your work doesn't become more quality the next day when you have a chance to switch off. Because I know I've played this game. I've been the guy working from 6 in the morning till 10, 11 at night, doing the same thing again the next day, thinking I was grinding, bro. Like, this was just what I needed to do. And I look back at my work now, and I'm like, I'm so much better. Now I've got more balance. I'm just so much more relaxed. I've got a chance for that battery to refill. That's actually quite a nice little analogy there. So I often think of myself like this battery, right? So you've got your iPhone battery, you can see the battery coming down. What are you doing to charge it? So if you've got more going out, more work, more stress, what are you doing to fill that battery up, right? If that filling up the battery is just sleep and go again, that might work for some people, doesn't work for me, and it's not going to work for a lot of my clients either. So I strongly suggest that you find time for that. And that is not me saying do not work hard, right? Absolutely work hard. Just work hard intelligently in the time allotted to you. And if you can't get your work done in a 12-hour day, I'd suggest you're probably wasting a lot of time. And there's a whole different discussion in terms of productivity alongside with that. So yeah, work-life balance. Hopefully that gives you guys some ideas about what you can do moving forward, because it's something I'm incredibly passionate about. You're not going to be able to find this perfect balance for everyone, but you might find your perfect balance. And that will shift as well. Mine's been changing. So you can always change this. There's periods of time, I spoke about this in the Q&A, there's periods of time you're going to work harder, there's periods of time you're going to work smarter, there's periods of time you're going to ease off, there's periods of time you're going to push your foot to the accelerator. That's going to differ. But just make sure you're actually enjoying your life, not ruining it by your choice of balance. So hopefully you enjoyed this one, guys. There's a bunch of resources you can check out below. One of the resources I'm really excited about is Vaydur. So Vaydur is my business mentor's new project. He's released this app, AI tool called Vaydur, which is basically for content creation. It's pretty fucking awesome, to be honest. And I'm a big fan. So I think anyone that is stuck making content and wants to have some help with this, maybe check it out. Check it out below. Full transparency, this is an affiliate link, but I use it myself. So if you want to check it out, the link is below. And see what you think. I think it's great. I've been using it. Super helpful, way better than the Claude prompts that you're going to see. And I think it's $40 a month. So super cheap for what it gives you. It's content creation, which is what everyone struggles with. It might be a thing. So check it out. Other links are in the show notes below. So have a little look at them. And as always, thank you for supporting the show. If you don't already, make sure that you please subscribe. It would mean a lot to me. And hopefully we'll be up with the 50 episodes very, very soon. So thank you for watching, guys, or listening to me in your ears. I'll catch you in the next episode.